Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel Botany for All. In today's video, we will discuss about a modification of root, that is the storage roots, and we will discuss one example, that is beetroot. Botanical name is Beta vulgaris. So we will discuss the process of appearance of these storage roots, or how the secondary growth appears, or how the secondary growth takes place in the storage roots. So let's just start. The roots are mainly made for the absorption of the water as well as the minerals. The root part is derived from the radicle. But other than the main function, that is the absorption of the water as well as the minerals, other than that, the roots may get modified to perform several other functions, like some respiratory roots. The roots may also perform the function of exchange of gases. Okay, they will be called respiratory roots, like pneumatophores. We will discuss these kind of modification in the upcoming videos also. The plant Rhizophora, which is generally found in the mangrove forest, that plant have a respiratory roots which are called pneumatophores, meant for the respiration. There are several other roots like epiphytic roots. Whenever an epiphytic plant survive on the another plant, so their roots may not be necessarily in the soil. The roots will be on the other plant. So those kind of the roots are called epiphytic roots. Example is vanda. Vanda is a kind of orchid and having their roots on the another plant. There are several other modifications like aerial roots, like stillet roots in sugarcane, aerial root in like banyan tree, okay, and like storage root. Whenever the root stores something, the root will be called storage root. During the accumulation or the storage, the parenchyma tissue appear more. The parenchyma tissue is produced, and the parenchyma tissue is produced by the secondary growth. That secondary growth will not be normal, that will be abnormal or anomalous. What is anomalous secondary growth? I have made some videos on the anomalous secondary growth that you can watch on the concerned playlist. If you are not aware of the word, that is anomalous secondary growth. So for producing the parenchyma tissue or the storage tissue, generally the root is not much thickened, but after the secondary growth, the anomalous secondary growth, the root becomes thickened, and that thickened part is mainly consist of the parenchyma tissue, and that parenchyma tissue is mainly consist of the storage parenchyma. So the more thickened part, which is having parenchyma tissue, and particularly the storage parenchyma tissue, those storage parenchyma tissue will store something. That's why these roots, these modification of root are called the storage roots. So what they store, generally they store various kind of the sugars or the carbohydrates. They may store proteins, they may store vitamins, etc. Since they are very nutritive, that's why they are edible. Storage roots are edible. You might be aware of the examples like radish, carrot, turnip, and beetroot. So all these edible things, radish, carrot, turnip, they are not fruit. They are the modification of roots. They are which are called storage roots. Okay, like radish, carrot. There may be a shape difference, although morphologically radish is, carrot is cone shape, conical. Okay, radish is spindle shape. Turnip and beetroot are napiform shape. Napiform, NAPI, napiform shape. So morphologically, their shape may vary according to their storage part, but they all are storage roots. Generally, the storage root plants are biennials. They complete their life cycle in 2 seasons because in their first season, they store something for their nutrition. And in the second year, the main stem part will grow and the flowers will appear or the reproduction will happen. Otherwise, in their first year, they store something. That's why they are biennials. So these are the modifications of the root. Mainly, the parenchyma tissue is present in the storage part or the extra thickened part. That parenchyma tissue is storing something. That's why we are calling them the storage root. And a normal thin root becomes very thick due to secondary growth, and it will store the different nutrition like carbohydrate, proteins, and vitamins. So now we will discuss that how the secondary growth in a simple root, in a simple dicot root takes place, and that root becomes storage root due to the anomalous secondary growth. So let's just start. So like other normal dicot plants, Beet vulgaris is also a dicot plant. And if we see the transverse section of roots of dicot plants, so they appear like this. Let me draw. Whenever we will cut the TS of a root, a dicot plant root, it will show some anatomical features. Suppose this is morphologically a root, having root hairs. Okay, so how the TS is cutted like this. When you observe the TS from this side, upper side, it will be appear circular. Okay, TS is cut like this, transverse section. Longitudinal section is like this. So whenever we will cut the TS, it will appear circular from the upper side. So let me draw the TS of the root. So here will be the root hairs. These are the root hairs, because whenever you will cut the TS, some part of hair will also be appear. After the epidermis, this is the outer part, that is epidermis. These are the root hairs. After the epidermis, there is a cortex. Cortex is generally made up of the parenchyma, because root is not too much tough. So they are made up of the soft tissue. Wait, let me draw again. Yes. This is the distinct cortex. This mainly made up of the parenchyma in the roots. The cortex of the stem may consist of the sclerenchyma as well as the collenchyma, but generally the cortex of roots is consist of the parenchyma. So after that, there is endodermis. There is an additional layer. Okay, let it be. It was drawn with that also, but it's okay. This extra layer is endodermis. Endodermis have Casparian strips or Casparian bands which regulate the movement of water. Whenever the water is coming apoplastically very fast through the cortex, okay. So at the endodermis, it have a regulation strips that are called the Casparian bands. Casparian bands or Casparian strips are made up of the suberin, so they control the inward movement of the water. After that, the water will move symplastically, means from cytoplasm to cytoplasm, once entering the endodermis. Because after the endodermis cell wall have Casparian bands that stop the movement of water. That is concerned with the plant physiology. We will discuss some other day, or in anatomy. So after that, after the endodermis, there might be pericycle. And in the center, this portion I should draw here. So in the center, there are the vascular tissues. Vascular tissue like xylem and phloem. Xylem is like this. If it is a dicot plant, the xylem will be embedded up to the center. There will be no pith. In the dicot stem, there is pith, but in the dicot root, there is no pith. So xylem will be embedded. Radial vascular bundles are there in the root. Okay, so radial vascular bundle means xylem, then phloem, then xylem, again phloem, then xylem, again phloem, and xylem, and phloem. So they see once xylem, then phloem, again xylem, then phloem, then again xylem, then phloem, then again xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem are arranged radially on the radius. These kind of the vascular bundles are called radial vascular bundle as seen in the root. If it would be a monocot root, so it would look like this. The xylem will be restricted up to the periphery. Phloem will be similar. So there will be a large pith if it would be a monocot root. But since beetroot is a dicot root, so it is not having pith and the xylem is embedded up to the center. So one thing is clearly distinguishable there, that in the radial vascular bundle, there is no cambium. And we are talking about the secondary growth, that secondary growth in beetroot. So without cambium, there will be no secondary growth. Okay, so how a secondary growth takes place in a normal dicot root? Here we are talking about the storage root, but in a normal dicot plant, if a root is undergoing secondary growth, so how the secondary growth takes place in the dicot plant, that you can see in a video that I have made in the playlist Root Anatomy. Okay, that will help you understanding this in a more better way. Although I am also explaining the process here. So, but in normal dicot plant, how the secondary growth takes place, that you can watch there. So there is no cambium, but the cambium will appear later. That's why, because there were no cambium and the cambium is appearing later. That's why it is a abnormal secondary growth. So in all dicot plants, whenever the growth is taking place in the root portion, whenever the secondary growth is taking place in the root portion, that growth will always be abnormal or anomalous. Every time if a dicot plant root is going secondary growth, that will be anomalous secondary growth, because initially the cambium was not present in the roots. The cambium appears later. That's why the appearance of cambium is abnormal. That's why it is called the anomalous secondary growth. So where the cambium is originated, just see. The cambium is originated below the phloem patches. Okay. And the cambium appears in the patches itself. There was conjunctive tissue. This was the conjunctive tissue, which was made up of parenchyma. Earlier, there was parenchyma, means the permanent cells. But some of the permanent cells in the conjunctive tissue de-differentiated and again become meristematic. There is a phenomena called de-differentiation. Okay. Whenever a meristematic cell, the cell which is not divided yet or not differentiated yet, whenever a meristematic cell is differentiated, it forms permanent cell. Permanent mean now the cell is differentiated and attained its function. But whenever a permanent cell again become meristematic, in the plants, the permanent cell can again become meristematic. This process is called de-differentiation. And the result will be called secondary meristem. Okay. Similarly, the conjunctive tissue parenchyma was permanent cells, and they again become meristematic to form this cambium in the form of patches. The cambium is formed under the phloem in the conjunctive tissue region, in the parenchyma region, and this new cambium will join. Now the cambium will expand more and it will join via upper to the xylem, like this. So this red portion is the cambium. Again, I am drawing. That how the cambium appears. Blue color, in the blue color, I am showing the xylem. These were our vascular bundles. In the brown color, I am showing the phloem. And in the red color, I am showing the cambium. How the cambium is appeared. So cambium appear in the patches below the phloem in the conjunctive region. Okay, like this. This red is the cambium. Now this cambium starts joining above the xylem. See, this is xylem, and below the phloem. The phloem is below the phloem. The cambium is below the phloem and above the xylem. It joins. So now it becomes a kind of a normal situation. Whenever we see the cambium in the stems, the cambium is having phloem on upper side and xylem on the inner or downside. Here also you can see this is cambium. The xylem is present downward to the cambium like a normal stem, and the phloem is present upper side to the cambium. So that is how the cambium is originated. This is the origin of cambium. So we are concerned about the secondary growth now because cambium is originated and how the secondary growth takes place. So we will only discuss on the pericycle region or the vascular tissue region. So this was the basic structure, that root hair, epidermis, cortex, endodermis, and after the endodermis, the inner part is vascular cylinder that we have drawn here. The radial vascular bundle, and below the phloem, above the xylem, the cambium is originated. So let's just focus on the secondary growth now. So here we are having this type of structure. This is the xylem. These are the phloem. and black I am showing the cambium. Okay, here is the cambium. Now the activity of cambium will be normal here. Okay, the secondary growth was abnormal. Now what is the activity that cambium will produce? It is a meristematic tissue. It will divide. It will produce some cells on the outer side. Suppose these are the cells mass on the outer side, this one. It will also produce cells on the downside. The cambium is active more towards inner ear downside. That's why xylem is formed more as compared to the phloem. This is a rule. You can watch the secondary growth. That is a normal rule. So the cells which are produced downside are differentiated or permanent into the xylem. The cells which are produced by the cambium on the upper side or the outer side are permanent into the phloem. And one or two layers of the cambium remain always meristematic. If all the cells of the cambium become phloem and xylem, then the cambium will extinct. But in a normal case, the cambium retains itself, or some cells are constant for the cambium, means producing secondary phloem as well as secondary xylem. The cambium itself also remain. The cambium itself also remain meristematic always. Okay, so here also this cambium will start producing the cells on the downside as well as upper side. So it will add cells like this, that the complete structure will become circular. So let's just see how the structure will look like. Firstly, I am drawing the cambium. So once the cambium which was originated, it will start dividing, means it will form secondary xylem as well as secondary phloem. So it will look like this. This would be the cambium, this black. Okay, it had added some new cells on the outer side. This red portion, this is above the cambium was phloem. So new phloem is secondary phloem. And there were some patches of the old phloem which was primary phloem. Okay, so it would be secondary phloem as well as primary phloem will be there. See, this is cambium. Nearer to the cambium, the new phloem will be called secondary phloem, because on the upper side the cambium have added the secondary phloem, and above the secondary phloem is primary phloem, because the cambium added new phloem between phloem as well as cambium itself. Suppose this is cambium, this was the primary phloem. Okay, the cambium start expanding and add new cells between primary phloem and cambium itself. Those new cells are called secondary phloem. Similarly, on the downside, suppose it was xylem and this was the cambium start dividing new cells. Okay, since it is expanding, so between primary xylem and cambium itself, new cells will be added. So the new cells will be called secondary xylem, and primary xylem will be on the downside. So the cells nearer to the cambium are secondary phloem and secondary xylem. This is secondary xylem, and on the downside there will be primary xylem. So this is the chronology: cambium, upper secondary phloem, below secondary xylem, above to the secondary phloem is primary phloem, below to the secondary xylem is the primary xylem. So on the downside also, there will be new xylem, because the xylem is added more in quantity as compared to the phloem. So this is secondary xylem, and primary xylem was already like this. Okay, so this black is cambium. Normally what cambium does is, the cambium have formed secondary phloem, new secondary phloem and secondary xylem. But here in the storage route, whenever we are talking about the storage route, the activity of cambium is somehow abnormal. In the normal dicot plants, this was the activity. That is how the secondary xylem and phloem keeps on adding every year. Now in a normal dicot route, this cambium will divide again. It will form more secondary phloem towards outside, more secondary xylem towards inside. On the next year, this, in a normal dicot route, the cambium again adds secondary phloem, again adds secondary xylem, and that is how a normal dicot route become thick. But since it is a storage route, it is not a normal dicot route. So we are not concerned with the thickness only. We are concerned with the production of parenchyma that can store the food. So we need some storage part. So that is how the cambium of a beetroot or a storage root have abnormal activity. What abnormal activity? That on the upper side, it have to add the secondary phloem. On the downside, it have to add the secondary xylem. But along with the secondary xylem and phloem, the maximum amount of parenchyma is also added. See what I am saying? Suppose it was the cambium. It was meant for the production of secondary phloem upper side. And it was meant for the production of secondary xylem on the downside. But it is adding parenchyma on the upper side as well as parenchyma on the downside also. And more number of parenchyma as compared to phloem and xylem. On the upper side, all of the cells should be differentiated into the phloem. But here, maximum number of cells are differentiating into the parenchyma on the upper side as well as on the downside. Less amount of the cells will be differentiated on the phloem on upper side. Suppose these are cells phloem. Less number of cells will be differentiated into the xylem on the downside. Suppose this is xylem. Then again, more number of cells will be added in the parenchyma on the upper side as well as the lower side. So wherever the phloem and xylem are adding or producing, that will produce a vascular bundle. And the remaining portion will be storage parenchyma. Listen carefully. The cambium should produce secondary phloem, all of the secondary phloem on the upper side, and on all the downside, it should produce the secondary xylem. But here, very less number of secondary phloem is adding on upper side. Very less number of cells are differentiating into the secondary xylem on the downside, and the cambium itself is producing directly parenchyma. The cambium was meant to produce secondary phloem and xylem, but here the cambium is producing the parenchyma. This is an abnormal feature, and this is the important feature which is required in the storage roots. So what we will observe, see this diagram. This is cambium. The cambium produce phloem on the upper side, but very less region, at very less region. This is secondary phloem. Below to that, it is producing secondary xylem. Okay, similarly at the various places. This is also secondary phloem. This is also secondary phloem. This is also secondary phloem, or this is also secondary phloem. Down to them are the secondary xylem. Okay, and this blue cambium, now in the interfascicular region, there we are having vascular bundles. The vascular bundles are kind of formed by the secondary growth. Secondary phloem, secondary xylem, primary phloem. These are the vascular bundles. But the other region, the interfascicular region, they are producing the parenchyma. So these are the parenchyma produced by the cambium itself, these cells. The vertical lines or the patches that I am drawing are the parenchyma. See, we are having much number of parenchyma on the outer side as well as we are having parenchyma on the inner side also. And this parenchyma is storage parenchyma. It starts storing something. After this activity, this cambium, which was appeared, okay, which was later appeared, this become dysfunctional or non-functioning, or it ceases. See, it is also an abnormality. The first abnormality was this, that it is also producing parenchyma. First abnormality. It was producing parenchyma. The cambium is not meant for the production of parenchyma. It produces xylem as well as phloem. Phloem on the upper side and xylem on the downside. But it was producing more number of parenchyma as compared to xylem and phloem. So this was the first abnormality. Second abnormality was this, that it ceases. In a normal case, in the stem as well as the root, the cambium should not cease. It keeps on dividing every season. Year after year, it starts producing the rings. By counting that rings, we can also find out the age of plant, because every year one new ring is added. But here the cambium is ceases. So it means if the cambium is ceases, the secondary root should stop. But the root become more and more thick and keeps on adding new storage parenchyma that they will store the food. So a new cambium will appear. A new cambium will appear So cambium is meristematic tissue. It is again appear by the dedifferentiation of these parenchyma cells. These parenchyma cells which are produced on the upper side, they produce a new cambium. This red I am showing the cambium 2, C2. Now this cambium also shows the same activity that the earlier cambium have showed. Means it will add secondary phloem and xylem on the upper and downside respectively, but in a very less amount. And this cambium also is going to produce the parenchyma in more and more number. So similarly, this cambium is producing, this is phloem. Okay, suppose this is phloem. Since it will expand, so it will add phloem on the upper side. So it will not just after this secondary phloem, there will be no secondary phloem. There will be first secondary xylem. But here I am just showing secondary xylem here. So see, these are the first vascular bundle, these are the second vascular bundle. A new ring of vascular bundle is formed here, and the cambium also form the storage parenchyma, new storage parenchyma. Okay, then a new cambium will again form from the parenchyma cells, the third cambium. This cambium will add more vascular bundles. These are the first, second, and here also the third vascular bundles will be formed, secondary phloem, secondary xylem. So third ring of vascular bundles is also formed. So see, very less number of the contribution of vascular bundle is very less, and storage parenchyma is more and more. So this cambium will again form storage parenchyma. So concluding, or if we see the complete structure, so how it will look like, I'm just showing after the activity of 3 cambiums. Generally 3 or 4 cambiums appear. After that, the cambium ceases permanently. So how the vascular bundles look like, or the complete storage route look like. This is the primary part having primary xylem. We are drawing from inner to outer. This was the primary xylem. After that, I am showing vascular bundle in a red portion completely. This is the vascular bundle. This is secondary phloem. This is secondary xylem. These are the vascular bundles of first growth. Okay. Then again a new cambium. This was the cambium 1. Then a new cambium appear. The C2. And it also form bundles. Along with the vascular bundles, the cambium are forming parenchyma, storage parenchyma. So C1, this complete region is parenchyma. Okay. Again by C2, this complete region is parenchyma. Now, the upper parenchyma which is produced by the C2 will produce a new cambium. Okay, a new cambium C3 is also produced, and it is also forming vascular bundles. So these are the vascular bundles, xylem phloem, secondary xylem phloem, and it is also producing more number of the parenchyma. So this is the parenchyma. So now observe, the parenchyma is too much, and it is storage parenchyma. That's why the root have also showed the secondary growth, means it becomes thick, but the thickness is having more and more number of parenchyma tissue, which is storing something. That is how the secondary growth takes place in the beetroot. By having a secondary growth or abnormal secondary growth, it is accumulating parenchyma tissue, which are storing something, and that is how the storage root becomes thick. So it was about the beetroot. I will show you a picture that you can better understand that where is the parenchyma and where are the vascular bundles. So here is any beetroot. So just a thin root is now converted into this much thickened roots. These are the beetroots. Okay. So see, every year there are various, these all the tissues that we are seeing, they all are storage parenchyma. The vascular bundles are almost negligible. We can't even see the vascular bundles. There will be very small vascular bundles in these regions, which are not clearly visible in this. And a major portion, all this portion that we are seeing, these are storage parenchyma. And the storage parenchyma are producing after every cambium season, and a new cambium appears from the parenchyma itself. So there are vascular bundles which are altogether negligible. The amount of the xylem phloem is almost negligible. All of the part, the 95 to 96% part of the storage, the beetroot is all consist of the storage parenchyma, and it is storing various nutritive compounds like carbohydrates, various sugars, or some kind of the proteins and all that. The color of this, the red color of the beetroot is due to the chemical which are betalins. There are special kind of the flavonoids or the phenolic compounds which are called betalins, due to which the color is appearing red. So that is all about the storage, secondary growth in the beetroot. I hope this will let you understand better this topic. So thank you very much. Have a good time.